Welcome to the show. Trucks transporting building materials, small-scale construction, mining equipment, cigarettes, even cooking oil have been hot favourites with transnational organised crime or syndicates. Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal are the worst affected provinces, with the N3, the R103, the R21 and the R59 in the Vaal are the most desirable routes for truck hijackings, and the bill stands for an annual 3 billion rand. So how do we move around safely till the point of delivery, and how do we reduce the costs to consumers and companies alike? Welcome to the first episode of Driving Forward. This is the show that tracks all your fleet management and logistics issues. Joining me to discuss freight and vehicle hijackings and their impact on the sector and the economy, I'm joined by Gavin Kelly, who's the Road Freight Association's Technical and Operations Manager, Wayne Rautenbach, who is General Manager for Regent Commercial Vehicles, and Jerry Pierce, Operations Manager at Cartrack. Welcome, gentlemen. Let me start with you, Gavin, from the Road Freight Association. Just give us a big picture here of not car hijackings, road freight and heavy vehicle hijackings. What are the reasons here? Why do people hijack these vehicles?
Well, I'm glad you've chosen trucks because I don't know much about cars. But there's a fair amount of hijacking happening, and contrary to popular belief, there are a number of factors that drive that. The first one is obviously what the truck is carrying. So whether it's foodstuffs or high electronic goods or valuable goods, they go after the cargo and just leave the truck, the driver and the trailer alone. So that's really the first category. And that's what we all think it's all about. But no, there are a couple of other categories. The second one is about the vehicles. So somebody wants that brand new German make or that brand new Japanese make, or they want the trailer because they need that for their operation. So they'll take that, and they could go cross-border, but quite often stays in South Africa. The third reason, which we only began to learn about 3 years ago, is actually for parts. So they'll steal bits and pieces of these combinations, strip them down, and resell the parts into the whole trucking industry, either through second-hand parts or even maybe new parts, who knows, but they look for parts. And the last reason, which was quite a bit of a shock, it's actually organized to kill competition. So if I can take your fleet out because you're continually being hijacked, I can play you out of the market.
And that suggests that there are operators who are criminally involved in trying to take other operators out.
Oh, when you find out who's involved, it's actually quite stunning. It goes from a number of law enforcement agencies to the guys you think are really the guys bleating about the problem.
Right, let's bring in Jerry there from Cartrack. Jerry, what your business is to stop these things by tracking them down.
Absolutely, David. Yeah, we install tracking units from mobile units that can be placed into the cargo. We can install units into the trailers, purely stolen vehicle recovery, then up to full fleet management, linking into the CAN bus of the vehicle, checking revs. You can even see when the driver's indicating, putting his windscreen wipers on, etc. So from all of those sort of products, we can have we're very confident that we can, recover the goods or the trucks or the trailers in the event of a hijack.
All right, I'm going to come back to the point as to, with the technology available, why we still have any hijackings at all. But let me bring in Wayne Rautenbach from Regent, the insurance company. So from your perspective, you want to bring the premiums down, and you'd like, obviously, this curse to be reduced. How bad is it from your point of view?
From our point of view, from a risk point of view, hijacking for the goods that are being carried, that's what we see mostly. And we look at it from the point of view of an insurance risk and putting a premium to a risk. And we've realized that as underwriters over the last couple of years, we cannot simply manage by premium and excess structures and limitations on policies. We need to get involved in the problem and get involved in risk management, partnering with telematics companies and the likes of the Road Freight Association, and actually tackling the problem at its core. Because to answer your question, it's a massive problem. The number of 3 billion.
Give me an idea of the number of vehicles that are hijacked, how you measure this.
Well, we use statistical information that's given to us. On average, there's 105 truck hijackings a month that are reported. So if you do
3 a day,
a calculation, that's where you are.
That we know of.
Yeah, that we know of. That will be. And so, from an insurance point of view, what actually happens, you're trying to manage the risk as best you can, But it's going to get more expensive to move goods around the country because particularly if you're going to insure them, and you need to insure the goods because of the value of the goods. So, but as I say, there is a solution if we can partner with a problem we found is, the telematics out there is fantastic. We've got telematics in this country that is second to none. But if you're not using it correctly, and you're not trained on it correctly, and you're not monitoring tracking devices 24/7, then there's a big gap.
So perhaps I could come to both of you to say, with the technology available, you'd think like with cell phones, there should be no truck that could not be traced immediately or watched by satellite constantly. That's possible in terms of the technology. Why aren't they doing it?
Most definitely possible. A lot of tracking companies offer a bureau service where you'll have an operator assigned to your fleet 24 hours a day. You can then put in route management. For instance, if the vehicle is supposed to drive from Durban to Johannesburg, should it deviate from that route, it'll alert the operator, who will then obviously take the next step to get guys out there to make sure that the vehicle's okay. Typically, in a scenario of loads being taken, the driver is held hostage until such time as the load has been offloaded, and then he's released to raise the alarm. And by that time, of course, the load is gone.
But if the vehicle stopped at an unusual place or went off its route, from the Road Freight Association's point of view, you must be desperate to bring this rate of hijackings right down. What's stopping you?
We are. One of the things that we found out in the last couple of years, and I don't know if you gentlemen have found out, especially from the insurance point of view, is many of these hijacks are not reported. The guys either do self-insurance in their own company, or there's some process, so it's not reported. And when you allow a hijacked vehicle to be out there for a while, your chance of recovery and dealing with how that hijack happened reduces. So that's the first problem, is we need these all to be reported. The second problem really is around, yes, we've got all this equipment, but they still get past it. They're jammers, you name it. And how much of the hijack happens inside? That's beginning to show us that there's a lot of internal fiddling and skullduggery. But how do we stop it?
Obviously, if there's internal stuff, then you'll break any system, if there's cooperation inside a company. But you were saying that you think we could work together more. In what ways could you work together?
What we're very involved with risk management. We've created a division within our company just to handle risk management. So as I say, underwriting by premium and policy conditions is not really going to work for us going forward. Concentrating on drivers, Gavin sort of hinted at it, like inside involvement, and we've focused a lot of our risk management on drivers, educating drivers, not just how to park a truck and reverse park a truck, but workplace preparation, what they can expect, how to use telematics, driver wellness programs, everything possible to close off any weak link, as it were. And we've been very successful at that. But I actually need to hop on, when it comes back to telematics, where there are offerings out there that will give you monitoring, but it's if you select it. So if you select that so we'll give you a tracking device, but if you select monitoring, we'll do it for you. For me, as an underwriter and as a risk manager, if a tracking device is not monitored 24/7, it takes away 70% of its effectiveness.
Well, let's ask Jerry. I mean, what's your experience with your technology, the way it's operated, the gap between what could be done and what is being done?
No, I agree. It does need to be managed and monitored, and it's like any device or anything in your business. If you're not using it correctly, it's not going to work like it should. Having said that,
But is it not being used as it should?
I think in a lot of cases, I think fleet owners, fleet managers are becoming much more aware of what's out there, and they are becoming much more responsible with where their trucks are, where their drivers are, what they're doing, how fast they're going, etc. Having said that, Cartrack still gets calls from owners. They haven't spoken to their driver in a week. He should be in Durban by now, and the vehicle's been in Maputo for 3 days. So we find that happens often.
We've been trying to get owners to bring in a standard operating procedure, and every company has its own way of dealing with something. But if the driver sees something on the road that's not normal, okay, now you're going to say to me, lots of things happen on the road that's not normal. But knowing what he or she's got to do, something's not normal, to hit the panic button, if you want to call it that, to alert. Rather have far more alerts happening, because we'll then actually be able to pick up modus operandi that are out there, than oh no, this doesn't look like anything, and the next minute, bang, the vehicle's gone.
What about the satellite technology? I mean, you'd think that we've got Uber, and you watch your own vehicle being tracked by the satellite as it finds its way along the road. This is just in a car. Surely all trucks could be subjected to that kind of tracking technology. And in real time, live time, you can see exactly where it is and what it's doing.
It's all live. I mean, it's all real time.
So I don't follow why this isn't working.
It's up to, well, you've got to have somebody watching it. Cartrack will offer that service, but it's a value-added service.
So is it a cost issue for some companies?
Absolutely. Cartrack has a 24-hour control room. If a driver pushes a panic button, then the control room operator would obviously contact the owner or the responsible person and say there's a problem. A lot of times the guy, you wake him up at 2 o'clock in the morning, he says it's all fine.
Yeah, but we've seen, but as underwriters, where I'm taking risk, or the company that I work for is taking a risk to insure R1 million load, for instance. In our experience, for us to monitor those vehicles, so we've created a monitoring bureau where we say to clients, no matter what you have in your vehicle, any telematics that you have, we are able to monitor on your behalf at no additional cost. Because as a risk management tool, we see far more benefit in doing it at our own cost than paying claims. And because we know that if you know about a hijack within the first 60 minutes, your chances of recovering that truck are probably 100 times better than after a week.
And the goods, obviously.
So that is paramount to risk
but
management.
But there's some basic stuff that should happen. I got a phone call just before we came on the show. This operator is saying they're stealing fuel hand over fist. They're driving out of the depot at a certain time where they're not allowed to drive out. That's happening right inside that depot. So there's some things that are, when you bake a cake, you do it this way.
Yeah.
There's some ways to run an operation. And some of the stuff has to be 24/7. You have to watch where those vehicles are.
From the cost point of view, surely the insurer can give an incentive to the company and say, we'll drop your premium right down if you take out this technology.
Absolutely. So if you look, insurance premiums are based on risk and based on history. So if you, at the outset, if you partner with your insurance, your underwriter, your telematics company, and you tick all the boxes, say, I want to go for monitoring, I want to upskill my drivers, I want to do all the risk management that I can, you are going to see the benefits. You will see the benefits in premium.
I'm afraid we have to cut the discussion there. We've raised the issues. We're not going to solve them now. It sounds to me like there's a solution in sight if everyone works together. There is technology. There must be the money because it's worth it. And from the insurance point of view, it's worth your while too. Yeah. We'll continue these conversations thanks to Gavin Kelly, the Road Freight Association's Technical and Operations Manager, Wayne Rautenbach, General Manager for Regent Commercial Vehicles, and Jerry Pierce, who is the Operations Manager at Cartrack. Thanks for joining us. See you in 2 weeks' time.